For me, I think today's episode starts like back. I'll tell you the first time I started having this question in my head was it goes as far back as 2019 until 2021, right?
Yeah.
Where the first thing that used to happen that made me start questioning exactly how the space works was, for example, you'll have an event sponsored by a certain alcohol brand,
Mm-hmm.
but the riders of artists being a different alcohol brand.
I get that.
I was like, surely,
Was the consistency?
yeah, but
how
like
does it
also
work?
from the contractual agreement,
How does it work?
what if my sponsors don't like this? Or what does it mean, right? So I'm like, nah, man, so there's some inconsistencies here because I was like, and that's when I started being intrigued by like,
Mm-hmm.
do all stakeholders that play part in this thing, in this business of events, understand the bigger picture and something that is bigger than they know going on, right?
Yeah.
Dude, literally artists will arrive and like not want to play before artist managers will want to see the rider before the artist can play.
Yeah, but also that whole conversation about the rider is quite.
But I don't mind riders.
It's a flaky one. Yeah, I also don't. But some are
Can you align?
But some are just have been ridiculous. The things that we've seen in the past is just like.
Yeah, for me it's like if you know that events need sponsorship revenue to put some of the best productions to be able to pay your hefty fees.
Yeah, your artist fee.
At the very least, you can say, artist drinks a cognac. Whatever cognac is sponsoring that event should be.
Can I have that?
And sometimes maybe you need to have an alternative, if not a cognac, then a whiskey.
Yeah.
Because there might not be a cognac sponsor.
I get that.
But that whiskey might be competing from a market perspective. They might be wanting to bite into that category of cognac, right? So, you know what I mean? So I suppose for me they were so inflexible in that space was like, but I think you guys are just concerned about your corner. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But yeah, because I hear what you're saying. It's just like at the end of the day, it's like you get artists where they like sitting there, they're not concerned about what's next. It's just what I can have now and how is it beneficial for me now? Where when you spoke about the bigger picture, it's like how do different stakeholders sit there and be like, what else can I do outside of the things that benefit me today? But a lot of us don't do that, even in our individual capacity.
Yeah, and bro, simply do my actions destroy value in this ecosystem?
Yeah.
Right? But I think first and foremost, you need to be aware of the
ecosystem you operate in.
But Shane, it's not just the artists.
Yeah.
This is just an example about artists, but it's not just them.
That's right.
So that's me, like 2019, even 2021, bro. We threw a Valentine's event and artists were asking for Hennessy. I was like,
yeah,
you come into an all Valentine's event, but anyway.
Did you provide the Hennessy for them?
I don't know.
I feel it, dog. I got what.
But you know what I mean?
I'm just asking also.
So yeah, so that's literally like the purpose of this event, right? Or not this event, this episode. This is the anchor of this episode. In recent days, or in recent times rather, what I saw was I heard one thing and I saw the other.
Mm-hmm.
What I heard was someone who's very prominent in the event space, like you in the event space, you're doing events yourself. And they made a comment that sponsors always want to meet their KPIs. Right?
Who said that?
Bro.
I'm just asking. Though.
We're lending a principle here, not, and for me at that moment when I heard that, I was like, but wait, what do you mean? Like, as opposed to what? What else should they be looking for if not meeting their KPIs, right? And so it threw me off. And for me, it's comments like that where I think for me, one, it says, as someone that's existing in that space, you're not really aware of the business that you're in. But number two, then it really does justify the purpose of episodes like this one.
Yeah.
And in recent time, the other thing that I saw was after Bacardi, the Until Bacardi event, Bacardi Holiday Club. Tools went on socials and put this thing where he was complaining about Amapiano artists. He called it death of
Amapiano. Yeah, I remember that.
But to his credit, he really did call out some artists that were professional and ones that were reliable.
Yeah.
I think Gogo was one of them. Dench was one of them. Those are some of the reliable guys, right?
Yeah.
But then he was complaining about other people who are late,
Who don't show up,
and stuff like that.
don't communicate.
Yeah. You know?
Yeah.
And funny enough, talking about that, I've also seen a contract where an artist said, if they are late, you need to make sure that within the hour that they arrive after being late, they play. I'm like, bro, those are
No, wait.
you know,
No.
like that though.
No, how does that?
So that's what we're trying to like really unpack today. I think this episode is quite prominent for people that are doing events. One, to understand how business of events work.
That's right.
And then for the stakeholders that interact with business of events, right?
Yeah.
They must understand the ecosystem, because your actions can create or destroy value. And when we talk about the stakeholders, the key ones that we talk about when it comes to business of events will be artists, sponsors, and then the patrons, people that attend. Media as well sometimes. But if we're talking business of events at like a groove level, not so much. But if you think bigger festivals, then that's playing a role. So today there's two fundamental things that we're going to discuss. One is called multi-sided platform. It's a business model, right? So that's the one that explains. We're going to explain the business of events using that concept. And then we're going to speak to the entire ecosystem, right? And I think when we speak to the entire ecosystem, we're going to link it to the platform model, and then really just to say, well, artists, please start understanding that these actions destroy them.
So your multi-sided platform,
what's that?
What's that?
Okay, cool. Let's get into it. So a multi-sided platform, if you're a platform business, essentially as a multi-sided one, essentially what you're doing is you are enabling interactions between customers, right? So as a platform owner, and when you say platform, we're not speaking like a digital platform, we're talking like a platform.
So an event property owner would be a platform owner.
Platform owner, yeah, exactly. So you are enabling interactions between different customers that you have that otherwise would have difficulty really finding places that they can interact. But more importantly, also these customers are interdependent on one another, right? So let's explain this through a business like Uber first, right? Uber is a multi-sided platform business. What that means is Uber is the platform. Well, it just happens to also be a digital platform. Yeah. But like, it's a platform first, and then they do it on a digital platform to enable that. But the two customers that it has, two distinct customers, are the riders, people who request, and the drivers, right? And then they're interdependent on one another, because riders need transportation and drivers need people who want to ride, right? So that's the thing. So when it comes to that, also what we need to understand is how value is created. Platform businesses thrive if those two sides, there is enough participants on either side. And think about it this way. If you have more drivers and you have very few riders, it's beneficial to the riders because there's a lot of drivers. So the waiting time for them sort of reduces.
It decreases,
But for the driver's perspective,
it's saturated.
Like there's no opportunity for them to make money because they're chasing small pool. So the problem with platform business is that your two sides, or your sides, because others have more than two sides, your sides almost have to be balanced. And the other fascinating thing about it is the more riders you get, the value gets created for drivers, and the more drivers you get, the value gets created for riders. So it's like an indirect network effect.
So I mean, just I don't know if I'm getting your point. So is it then what? How do you then find the right balance with regards to, like in the example that you make, to say if you have more riders than drivers, it creates value for the other party, and then vice versa the other way. So
that's fundamentally the most difficult thing about building a platform.
That's what.
It's building those sides to scale up almost at the same time.
That's wild.
How do you do it? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm going to explain, like for Tshwane, for Formula One, I can use assumptions that I think, or I can say there are things that I think helped scale up all of those participants to commit to the property. But just tracking back a little bit. So that's essentially what a platform business model is, right? One, already it's difficult to build that kind of a business because you need all those things to work well and scale up together. What makes business of events even more difficult is that you don't just have two distinct customers.
Yeah.
You have 3 or 4 depending on the scale of your event, right? So whereas Uber has drivers and riders, events have patrons, people who are attending. They have sponsors, people who are sponsoring the event. And then they have artists, people who are putting on the show from a performance perspective.
Yeah.
This is the same. Sports teams work exactly the same as well. You can explain them at least using platform business model. If you think of like Manchester United, it has sponsors, it has fans, it has players who replace artists, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm convinced to almost go as far as saying influencers can look at their business like that as well. I haven't tested it enough. I
wanna know your theory.
Think about it. If we saying an event, a sports club, an influencer would be a platform as well, right?
Platform owner.
And then they have an audience who's consuming their content. They have sponsors and brands that want to partner up with them to interact with their audience. And then I suppose participants or like artists could be other people they collaborate with.
Yeah.
And then media in their sense could be their channels and all of that. So, but again, I haven't really like thought about it that much. But at high level, I can see it being explained by the same thing as well. So cool. Bringing it back to events, right?
Yeah.
So when we come to a platform business model, the more joiners you have, so if we go back to Uber a little bit, the more drivers you have, the more value is created for drivers.
No.
Where the more drivers you have, value is created for riders. The more riders you have, value is created for drivers. Same thing happens in events, right? The more patrons you have, it creates value for sponsors. It creates value for whoever media partner
you
right? The more sponsors you have, it creates value for artists because they can be paid more money. It creates value for your audience or your patrons because from an experience perspective, there's engagement with sponsors depending on the activations and all of that. But even from a production, you generate more money, you can create better experiences for the consumers. So the whole point now is if any of that is disturbed, so if you have more audiences or patrons coming to event, but you don't have sponsors, you don't have artists, there's no value in that system. Do you know what I mean? Like, so now you have everyone attending your event, but either you have a whack lineup or you don't have a lineup type thing. And then if you don't have sponsors, you also can't put a world-class production. Your event is going to be low quality, for lack of a better word. Or from an engagement perspective, there aren't enough experiential stuff happening in your space because you don't have brands and so forth activating, right? So the challenge then for me is for event organizers to say, how do you balance all of that? So you then can't come and say sponsors want to meet their KPIs. Because they have to meet you.
But everybody wants to meet their KPIs. So
and also it's like you need to figure out a way now to say, cool, my job is to enable all of these stakeholders to interact with each other so that they can create value. The more they interact with each other, the more value can be created. But now the challenge is how do you get them to commit at the same time, at the same level as well? And that's where I said, I don't know how you do that. But I think we can use 2 examples. Tshwane specifically and Formula One. I think for me, because you asked the question earlier, how do you then
balance it out?
what's that thing that helps you balance it out and get all these people to comment at the same time?
Yeah.
I think it's the flair of the experience. And I think for me, Fontaine, that whole sold out thing, shut up the need to access Fontaine, both from patrons. Everyone wants to be there.
Yeah.
Sponsors
want to be associated.
Want to get involved in that action because like it's the hottest property. So that means whatever it is that you want to do in that space will be hot, right? Artists themselves, the profiles and all of that, they want to perform at Fontaine because it's one of the hottest things. So can you engineer that? I don't know. I don't know if you can engineer that. But for me, it's saying as an event organizer, you need to understand that when you throw in an event, you're dealing with, at the very minimum, 3 different customers, people that are attending your event, your sponsors, and the artists.
Yeah.
And their interactions and their commitment to your event, and them feeling like they're getting value from that event is what gives your event value. That's your value proposition. But more importantly, it's how all of those people also get value.
Yeah.
It can't be out of balance. And therefore, you need to then figure out, if my sponsor wants to meet their KPI, how do I help them meet their KPI through those interactions, right?
Yeah.
But
then how do you then try to balance it out, to say, okay, cool, I've got patrons that are excited for this thing, but again, sponsors that are willing to put money where their mouth is and still manage to keep the artist happy. How do you then, just from balancing it out, because in order for those things to work well together, you need to try.
Your thing has to have that thing.
But what is it?
No, dude, what was Fontain's thing? Like I said, it was that sold out thing. How did they achieve that? Could you engineer that? I don't know, right?
But you worked there for a long time. What do you think?
My nigga, I got there and that thing was selling out already.
Yeah, I'm saying you worked there for a long time, I know. But look, what do you think it is about that special, that event
I think
in itself?
Several things worked in their favor.
Yeah.
The nature of the event, the timing of it, month end when people have money. And it just happened to work because you're in Pretoria and you're the only person that's really dominating that space and throwing it like that.
At that level, yeah.
And it was a different kind of event. It was very small, intimate. Every month, there was something to look forward to. It wasn't large scale like festivals. And all of those factors, I think, created that whole ability for the event to always sell out. And then they marketed the hell out of that sold out thing. And they made the whole thing around, they created a whole language around sold out, right? And then that quickly helps all these things ripple. It almost plays like a multiplier effect of your platform model, right? And I think that was it for them. Formula One, I think, did it well. I don't know if they thought it would have that effect or they just wanted to try out something that could bring a lot of, the rationale was there. They were hoping that this thing could bring people closer to the sport, right?
Yeah.
And Drive to Survive shot the lights out for them in terms of creating that. People got to know the sport more personally and all of that. So new audiences started following the sport. Sponsors were attracted by the new numbers and the engagements. Media as well. Now your broadcasting fees are going to shoot up and all of that. So again, it's that thing again. You need to try out stuff and figure out the one that works, right?
Yeah.
To help balance out these things. But with or without that thing, the whole point of this episode is making event organizers understand that your job is to facilitate interactions of these stakeholders that need each other. And the more they interact with each other, in a way that makes sense, right? The more they can get value. It makes no sense for you to make patrons that are 40 years old interact with a sponsor that's trying to position themselves with the youth. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
yes, it's two different customers, but
there's an imbalance.
Independence does not make sense.
There's an imbalance on that. Also, it says a lot about if you you need to know who your target audience is or who you're trying to sell this thing to. Like when you go to sponsors, I'm assuming, and you'll tell me, it's like when you go to a sponsor, you're not trying to be like, what can I do for you? You just need to know what is it that the sponsor is trying to deliver. I think.
For sure. I mean, it's true on both ends, right? As an event organizer, when you're looking for sponsors, you need to already be looking for the right guys.
Yeah.
You need to know what those guys are from a positioning perspective, where they're playing, from what audience are they trying to access, and can you give them access to that audience? But similarly to sponsors themselves, right? Like, can you just not go for cool events even if they don't speak to the objective that you need to meet, right? But we'll cover that.
Yeah, you know that one.
Yeah. So that's that, right?
Yeah.
So then the next one is the ecosystem.
Sure.
And this is around sponsors, artists, and well, more about those two, because shame, bro. The patrons just want to go have fun and all of that. But I suppose even with them, sometimes it's just people that attend events understanding that, yeah, sure, you might not want to drink that gin, but
this thing,
fortunately they sponsored and there's a bigger picture here.
Right. But do you think, okay, I don't know if this question is, do you think patrons are educated enough about those kind of things to say, how feature when you get there, you're like, you know, Hennessy, but the sponsor it's another brand.
I think over time they've gotten used to it.
Yeah.
I remember there was a time where it used to be a big complaint, right? Where like, why are we drinking Gordon's here?
Yeah, I think.
But I think they know now that when you go to a festival, you drink and consume what's available.
Yeah.
They might not like it. They might not agree with it. But I think they are used to it now, that they might not know the nuances of it, but they just know that's how it works.
Yeah. No, I'm hearing you.
So I think then the ecosystem one is that one to say, if value is created within the entire ecosystem by your participation, the right participation, there are implications when you act out of pocket, right? So it's managers, well, artist managers and artists understanding that, like, yo, if we're saying we are going to an event, of course, dude, like unforeseen circumstances.
Logistical, like things happen, but
things that you can
be reliable, yeah.
Be reliable. Like if you don't pitch up, you're destroying value, because our patrons are coming to an event looking forward to this artist for the value that they're trying to get from attending this event. Sponsors are attracted to the event because they know that an artist pool, or a pool that artist has, will contribute to people attending, and therefore they can engage with this audience, right? So your participation creates or destroys value, or rather your participation creates value, your lack of participation destroys value. So, but for me, it goes beyond just them not showing up. It's also, can you also stop having ridiculous contracts? Like that thing that I explained, where already you are late and then you want to still dictate when you want to play after being late, right? It's contracts really being designed in such a way where they demonstrate that you understand that it's not just about you, right?
It's about everybody else involved, yeah.
It's the conversations around the rider, right? Where could we start getting to a space where we relook these artist riders, where sure, maybe you want a cognac or a brown spirit, but
it's not available.
Please work within the confines of who's sponsoring the event, because it's only through the sponsorships that the artists, the event organizers are able to pay your fees, right?
Yeah.
And yes, and this is not to say people shouldn't negotiate fees and all of that, but if you accepted a fee that was negotiated, don't now want to say you can ask for any rider you want now because you did that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But again, on the stakeholders, sponsors, I think if we're talking this whole ecosystem thing and understanding that your role creates or destroys value, that means also as sponsors need to stop trying to like negotiate ridiculous low fees for sponsorships. One, because you know that like the event organizers need the money.
Yeah, they're desperate. Yeah.
if you're trying to go and negotiate low fees, it's also detrimental to you if you think about it, because your participation increases value in the thing, in the whole ecosystem, value that you can extract.
Yeah.
So if you shortcutting people by low sponsorship fees, you're not really going to be able to extract value in that whole system because you are not doing your part to really add value into that.
I think the way you're putting it, I can make an example about football. If you don't buy the most expensive players, you're not gonna get the best team. So
100%.
so when you put that in events, it's like if you don't put your best foot forward from a monetary point of view, you don't give the guy that is doing this thing a chance to throw the best gig, which is.
But again, you yourself are not giving. He can't put a world-class production that would add value to consumers. So consumers have no reason really coming or being, you know, the overall experience is compromised. This guy can't afford the best lineup that can pull audience that you want to get access to.
So
it's like, do not destroy the virtuous cycle. That's the whole point. And then so we spoke about the artists, we spoke about the sponsors, we spoke about the audience. We didn't really touch on the audiences, but again, I think from an audience perspective, it's really saying, when you go to an event and you see from a bar perspective, this is all they're serving, understand that there's like bigger than just that corner that you're thinking of, right? There are sponsors who are putting money into this to make sure that the event can be as dope as it can be. But that's in exchange for something, right?
That's fair.
I'm gonna ask for exchange to say, you only sell my product. It's just how that business is designed. It's just how it works. And it's just the way it is.
I mean, I fully concur with you. I think when we moved from cooler boxing event where people used to bring their alcohol, the transition between that and structured sponsorship eventing where alcohol partners would have exclusive rights, it's like that transition left a lot of people behind. But I think now we're gradually coming to, as patrons, we are coming to terms with the fact that this is what's going to be available, this is what you're going to have, and in the absence of that, there's nothing we can do. And it's not because we're not taking care of you or we're not thinking about you. It's just what the ecosystem or what the cards at play are. We're dealt the cards that we,
And I think if anything, bro, cooler boxing events today are very rare.
I don't think they happen.
They still happen.
Wait.
Maryland?
Yeah, well.
Maryland is still a cooler boxing.
No. No.
Bro, I'm telling you.
Okay, fair.
But then it becomes so tough to like put it.
Yeah, because like now, but also, but that you can't regulate what's on the, so that defeats the whole point.
Yeah, it forces you to explore other channels before
so
entering the event. It really becomes tough. But like, I can't imagine the people who had to train the consumers to transition from cooler box to like, you buy at the
bar, like no drinks from outside.
That must have been tough,
I think, I don't know. I think I grew up in an era where I think when I started going to Groove when I was there, whatever.
Oh, I mean, dude,
it was there, but
I think 2015 was still cooler box.
It was still cooler box.
Yeah,
it was still cooler box. So, and then post-picnic, it was Africa, and then it was all, and I think that transition was tough for the consumer, though, if you think about it. But do you think the consumer was educated enough to say, this is what it is, or it was just one of those that gradually happened into...
No, I think for sure there were complaints at the beginning, but you started seeing that as being more common, and therefore I think it ended up being accepted. Now it's so normal that it's like it's your reality. You can't think of it any other way. Like I can't think of me carrying a cooler box.
But also you're a different market because you said they still exist. So I guess there's a market.
No, for sure. Yeah, they still exist, but I'm thinking even if spaces that I go to, they would say, bring your cooler box. I'm gonna complain that I'm not carrying a cooler box. Is there gonna be a bar? You know what I mean?
That's why.
But yeah.
But in conclusion, how do you wanna conclude this?
I think for me the biggest thing is really event organizers understanding that at the core really they have more than one customer. Like their customer is not just the patrons. And they are more important, they're not in the business of creating, or they're not in the business of attracting customers to the event, and that's it. Like your job is not to sell tickets to customers to come and just, by the way, ask sponsorship to give you money. No, that's your sponsor is also such a valuable customer. So are your artists, even though you happen to be the artist. But from you curating this thing called an experience that you're doing for everyone, really.
Yeah.
You have all these customers that are interdependent on one another, and your job is to make sure, one, you create value for all of them. Two, you figure out how do you get them all to be committed at about the same level so that your model is not out of balance. Because if it is out of balance, it's actually quite tough for you to be profitable, I suppose. Yeah.
All right, no stress, dog. I think we got a solid one.